Hey moms,
Hey daughters,
Sabrina's going to share a quote.
chance favors the prepared mind.
That is a quote that we shared last week from Louis Pasteur. Welcome to The Juggle is Real,
A mom and daughter show
Parenting and Mental Health,
for moms and teens.
episode.
19.
So we are kicking off the second part to a 4-part series of vision boarding. And who do we have, Sabrina?
Mrs. Christiana and Luna.
This is another favorite duo that is a very important piece of why we launched our show. So welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're so glad to be here again. Happy New Year.
So happy that you guys are with us again today. And it just feels like so profound because Christiana and I started a podcast back in 2018 all about dream boards and vision boards. So it was about vision boards, but we wanted to have a unique twist to it. So it was called the Dream Board Social Club Podcast. And here we are, oh my goodness, 7 years later doing this. And Christiana, loves. So we are on YouTube for those that listen on podcasts, but I just showed Christiana a dream board that we made. This was in 2020. Just how long we've been doing this. So last week we touched on our dreams. We shared our dreams about relationships, right? And so when we talk about vision boarding and why I believe it's so important is because I do believe it sets us up for success. And when I say success, I mean a holistic success, meaning a richness in all the different areas of our life. So not just in money, but a richness that we can feel in our relationships, in our career, in our school life, our time and our money, and in our bodies, in our health. And so today we are going to be talking about our career, our professional life, our vocation, and most importantly for these Gen Zers, school.
Yay.
Oh, so yeah, too. Smile. I was looking at you because of the energy. It's good things. School doesn't have to be.
So we have 6 parts to this today, 6 segments today. Luna, I'd love to hear from you if you would love to share. When you hear the word success, like what does that mean to you?
I definitely think it's like, I think of good grades and just like, except I feel like it means like winning kind of. I agree.
You agree? You know what is so cool? And I was just thinking about this because I think you guys will remember this. Christiane and I have older kids and they're good friends too. And they are freshmen in college. And when we were looking for Noah, if we were thinking about, we were interviewing different people to support him into his college application. And it was really important for me, this is for me, as I was interviewing people, not just to be just like straight A's or like was the main focus. That definitely is a focus, but I really loved this one company that we used of how they started. And it was, Noah, where do you see yourself in 10 years from now? If you could define success and you felt success, like what would it mean 10 years from now? And that really, I don't know, it really struck a chord as to something that I wanted him to develop a framework, an end in mind for that. And so that's why I think vision boards and dream boards are so important because as we just started in January already, there already are so many things that have happened and they can derail us from staying on track for feeling that kind of success. And I don't think that we would know what success is or what win is unless we had that end in mind.
Absolutely. I mean, it's hard because I think, as you said, success is winning. It's your personal win. And you cannot define that. My vision of success may not be your vision of success. And that's okay. I know. I think we were talking about this earlier, Tanya, that what something for you may not be something for Sabrina. I don't want necessarily for her to follow my path. I want her to follow her own path. So I'm thinking, okay, they're 15 years old. I don't know if I was 15, if I knew what success meant at that moment, at that very moment. I think right there, I'd say it was very short term. I knew I wanted to be good at tennis. I knew I wanted to get into the university I wanted to go into. And that was like sort of short term, but I think that's a start, like shorter term goals when you're 15, or maybe you have 10-year goals from now or 15-year goals. But for me, it was more like shorter terms and it was really like the small little steps that you take.
Yeah.
It could be your path to your personal success. That's my feeling. I don't know.
How do you feel about that, Sabrina?
Good. I mean, I have short-term goals, but then I also have long-term goals.
Okay. But what do you think success means to you? Like a holistic kind of success?
I don't know, really way still, but like just having success in life and like pursuing something that I like and
Mhm.
love.
So I think like when we think about this too, and a good way to frame like how we start the vision boards is to ask, what is it that you would want to feel a win in for school? So I would love to bring it back to you, Luna, and then I'll ask you, Sabrina,
Okay.
what you would really love for school this year.
Definitely number one is to like get good grades. I think like first quarter, I don't think I worked as hard as like I could, but for third quarter, I really want to try and get all A's and push myself. And then I feel like not only like grades is number one though. I think you definitely have to have I think, a good social life so that you have to have fun.
Or you can do both. It's not either or.
Yeah,
Honestly, it's not like you
yeah.
don't have to be a bookworm and not have a social life. Like,
I
how
think
can you balance that?
yeah, it's like important to balance it out.
How do you balance that? And I also think I will say the transition, Luna just entered ninth grade. It's high school. She was at a smaller school for sixth through eighth grade. And I think that transition from middle school to high school, we're no longer in COVID, was a very big transition for her academically. And she was always a very good student. She still is a very good student. But now in high school, you have to just go the extra mile. You have to go the extra mile. It's just, you have to put the sprinkles on top. You've got to put the cherry on top. And it is hard to balance, especially if you are an athlete and you want to have a social life and the social life comes easy to you. So she is learning that. And I appreciate that she is aware and she recognizes that. And we're not perfect, but I love that it's really much easier to parent when she is open about that. And she's very open and very honest with herself. And I love that. So
I love it too, Luna, and then that is like what I mean by when we say holistic, because it starts to when we can start to define. 'Cause today we're just talking again about our school and our professional life, and like last week we talked about relationships, which is what you were talking about. It's like how to bring in yes, like our relationship too, but then our relationship that extends to our extended family and our friends. And again, it's just really having that in mind so that way you can create that harmony, you can create that balance and can't focus, right, on all of those things at the same time. But then again, once you set the end in mind, then like when you start to get derailed, like when things start to feel like awe, right? So, Serena, I'd love for you to share your thanks, Luna.
I like want to get good grades, obviously, but then also so I just transferred to a new school to like make a soccer team for my school, and just because my older brother also went to that school, like making my own. Yeah.
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 Yeah. So, Sabrina switched schools too. So, Luna switched schools because you went from a middle school to a high school. Sabrina switched from high school to another high school. And then she entered a high school that was like you were just sharing, like your brother.
Mhm.
So there was definitely that yearning to have it be because Noah really loved his school. Noah and Luna's brother Lucas, they really enjoyed that school. Like Noah still goes there on breaks.
well, I
And
think it's too because not to cut you off, Tanya, but for you, those kids have been going to that. Most of those kids have been going to school since sixth grade.
Mm.
So to come into it in 10th grade, it's very different than starting in sixth grade or Luna starting in ninth grade, where the whole cohort is new people and you're all in the same boat. You know what I mean? So I think it's unique.
it is unique, yeah. So I've learned from life coaching and from my own is to be more vivid with our words. So when we say like success in grades, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but just to help and support you, like what that mean. Like would B's be okay? Or would you want all A's in all your classes? And are you taking classes that are advanced and accelerated? Like, is there a grade point? I'll just say that so you don't have to go through like just individual grades. Is there a range of a GPA that you would feel that is successful to you?
And I would
A 4.0.
pause there and be like, just a level set. we haven't talked a lot about GPA with her. And
That's
that,
also different. She's a year older than me.
are you familiar? Well, is this a question for Sabrina or for Luna or for both?
I guess I was just thinking both, but yeah, no, I'd love that. I'd love to know.
When we were looking into colleges for Lucas, I'm not quite sure. Like she, are you familiar with what you need to be?
Yeah.
You're okay. I just wanted to know. I don't want to assume anything. Okay. Can you rephrase the question?
I guess I was encouraging and just, that everything is always just an invitation to get a little bit more clear on like what success means for grades. I guess when I think about like a successful, and I'm bringing it to like something else, like a successful week of working out, how I feel good in my body, I would define, I know for sure that would mean like 5 workouts a week.
So what do you think about GPA? Like, what that goal, that target?
Obviously, like my goal is 4.0. I want to aim high and like all A's. That's my goal.
Oh,
Sabrina, you're the same way.
Yeah. I mean, last quarter I did really well, so keep it up.
Oh. Okay, and Christiana, then would you love to share what you do and how you feel for the year, like what you imagine for yourself in your career? And I like to say vocation too, like how you can support your natural gifts and passions in what you do.
well, I'm very excited about this year because we've had in my career, in my work, we've had a restructuring of my communications department, which, as you know, people do not really like change. I've been at my company for 19 years. I'm going to be 20 years in May, but I'm really embracing it because I am excited about the change since I've been at the company for 20 years. I don't want to be on autopilot. Like I can do my work in my sleep. So I think this will force me to approach this as if it were a new job. And I feel really refreshed. I feel really excited. I'm going to have a new boss, which I'm excited about. I have a new team. So it's a year of change. And instead of resisting it, I'm really trying to embrace it. And I'm excited about it a lot. I really want to bring all my creativity. I feel like I'm a very creative person. So I want to just put that to, 150%. And I'm hopeful.
This is like a big shift for you, and I love that. So here's what I love so much about having the vision boards, these dream boards, because when we talk about our careers and like your school and how we can add in what our natural talents are and our gifts, and really truly not just our natural talents, but our passions, but like what light this up. And one of the things that you had started, and I think you launched it already, was in the fall, you had talked about relaunching a publication that was for our neighborhood.
Yes.
And you made it come to life, and it was something that you had done in the past, and I'd love for you to explain it.
Yes. Well, first of all, my major in college was journalism. I always wanted to be a journalist. I wanted to be a writer, and I decided to go behind the scenes, which is public relations, instead of being, I don't want to be in front of the camera. I don't want to be, I wanted to write, but I changed and I became a public relations major, which involves writing, but not like writing in terms of for a magazine or a newspaper or anything like that. So I said, you know what? I want to get back into writing and I wanted to start small. So I contacted our little newsletter for our neighborhood and I said, oh, I would love to profile people from the neighborhood. I got inspiration from a magazine that at the end of each magazine, they would put like a very little blurb and then a questionnaire about people. I can do that. Like small, I can do that. So I pitched this to the editor of our little newsletter, and he's like, "Oh, great idea!" And I ended up writing the profile on your mother, and it was just it's super short. And then I asked like a couple like questions at the end that she, in her own words, and the editor really liked it. And he actually said to me, "Ooh, have you had journalism experience before? From the way you write is like amazing." I was really surprised, and I'm not trying to be like self-deprecating or anything like that, but it's sort of you get rusty. You get rusty with writing or cooking or what I don't know how to cook, but writing. And so it was really nice. But I feel like this is a column that I'm going to have every month in our little newsletter. My idea is to collect those. It forces me to be accountable to write every month. 400 words is nothing. It's fun. I get to meet people. I get to learn. I love to learn new things about people, make new friends. And then from there, we'll see where it goes. But I'm really excited and I'd really love to write. So that has been something new and I'm very happy and excited about that. So thank you for reminding me about that.
I love that. It's like the Real Housewives of Arlington Forest.
Yeah, no ugly drama. Just
I
all
know.
love.
No ugly drama, no drama. Maybe it's fun drama, but like nothing icky, although that it's such a draw to watch for entertainment, I'll have to admit, for the Real
Definitely.
Housewives. All right, so you know what? I'd love to just keep going on this because I just feel like it's so strong because I feel like what we've shared, and I don't mean to be negative about it, but I feel like we need to go just a little bit deeper on school and not to be like, oh, you got good grades, like that's what you want. Cause it doesn't seem like super motivating, right? I mean, other than, yeah, you get to go to a college you want, but it feels very much more of, and it definitely is a responsibility, but how can we reframe it in a way that you can bring a little bit more of the drive and bring the ambition in a way that you want to keep going? Because we know that not all things are going to be as we look. There are going to be some math grades that are going to not be so great, right? And so when I was thinking about how we can bring our natural gifts and our natural talents into it, and I just think about you two and then how you guys are like what I love about your relationships, and I know we're not talking about relationships, is that I love it that you two have such a close relationship, yet you can have friends with other people and you can move around and you don't seem to have that sort of jealousy or that sort of sense of like possessiveness to it. And I really enjoy it. And I think that's a gift. And I think that's a skill to learn. And these are like natural gifts that you can bring to classes or anything. And I think about you two doing some kind of public speaking or it's like not going to have it. Do you know what I'm saying? Especially I mean, Serena, you have said that you want to be a lawyer and what kind of a lawyer did you want to be?
The plaintiff attorney.
A plaintiff attorney? And then that means like you actually have to,
You're the one suing.
yeah.
You're in the courtroom.
Yeah.
I think you want to be that already. I mean, that's off topic, but whatever.
Well, and then you shared, Luna, too, what you were thought about, like being an architect and
Criminology.
I definitely remember like criminology and then
I was like something in medical, maybe. I'm not really sure about that. But like also,
Lisa Tingle.
yeah, Lisa Tingle. She was over here at our house, and we were just like talking about what she does and stuff. And I feel like being a prosecutor also like really like interesting as well.
oh, I don't know, Christiana, we're so lucky that we have a tech school that if it works out with your course curriculum, that you can look into different just classes to take to be able to explore that. And I think that would be, I'm just going to put a plug in to like, that's how no one knew my oldest when he took aviation that he had a passion for it. And that helped him with obviously for applying for college, and then that led down that route of going into a military academy. And so this exploration with even like for this year, as you're deciding like what you want to take with success and kind of thinking about the future, that's also going to open up to like, what are the kind of classes that you want to take for the following year? This is why I think that these vision boards, these dream boards are so important because that just really supports that part of our brain that's going to start supporting us in those other opportunities of how to keep growing and evolving in what you really love. And that first question I kept on saying is what you would really love. And I know I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, but again, I just think that vision boards and dream boards are so amazing is because these questions of asking, like, what do we really love? And I share this with Christiana because she was at that vision board future workshop that I did last week, is because those kind of questions are just talked out of us. And that's why I don't want you girls to think that that's going to be talked out from you, right? And I don't want to speak because I'm not your mom, Luna, but I think it's just so important because, like I said, I was going to go to nursing school. I had to go to college. I didn't even think about it. That was just like programmed into me, right? And of course, I wanted to go to college because it did open me up to all these different other possibilities. And I think it really is just staying in that question of what would I love, because that is from like millennia. I mean, that is a foundation. It's these basics that people have studied and that they lie in our foundation, from religion to mythologies to philosophers to great writers like Emerson and Thoreau to like transcendentalists to modern psychologist. And I just hope that you're going to remember that. So that you always, I guess I just feel, especially because this is a mental health podcast. And I just feel like so many kids are just like lost. And I don't want you to feel like we're pressuring you when I say what's success in school, but also to open up is what does success feel like? Because I think that's one of the most important things. Like, what does it feel like?
I
Sorry, I
think
just totally went off.
don't say sorry because I love where you're going with this. I love how you start with what success look like and feel like, and then you backtrack and what are the steps I need to achieve that? Because I'm thinking again, like I'm trying to put my brain on as if I were a 15-year-old like Sabrina and Luna, and there are a lot of distractions. There are. There is friend distraction, friend drama distraction. There's the sports. There's probably so much that I don't even know, and that's okay because your mom and I grew up in a different generation. That's fine. But you know, what I mean, there are distractions. So the question is like, how are you going to discipline is hard. Discipline is very, very hard. How do you keep your eye on the ball when distractions are like left and right of your of like here, like your goal's there, but there's all these distractions. It's very, very hard. It's very hard. And especially now in this day and age, it's not just social media. It's not just the phone. It's a lot of things. So I would say like, how do you guys navigate that and keep your eye on the ball? Because it's hard for me.
Wow. You want to answer that?
It's just like if I really want it, like I'll like a lot of effort into what I want.
Yeah, like so Sabrina did a really beautiful job with her pop quiz. That no, your pop quiz, your open book quiz
Um,
that you had.
it was like because I had to read a book throughout the quarter,
Hmm.
and we had like 2 check-ins, but then she doesn't really care when you do them. But then we had a test, but they're like really broad questions about like what quotes you want to use and like what themes and what kind of lenses your book is and the perspective it gives, I guess. And so I like annotate.
Sabrina.
Yeah, it is really hard, but it's actually not even that hard of a class, but it's like an AP class, so like I have to put a lot of effort into.
Of course.
But you came down, Sabrina, and you were happy. It was a beautiful skill that she had learned at Oakcrest of how to take notes and how to really, the word that's just coming to me is like really dissect the book, like how you did. And it was so systematic and organized in a way that you like, again, you have that excitement to it. So I think that sort of excitement supports the, oh, discipline's hard and focus is hard and sustaining that. Yeah, it is hard. And that's why I was saying it's like, what do you really love? Not all the classes are you going to love, but there are going to be those classes that you do. And then when you can bring that level of excitement to it, it's like you're teaching your body that excitement in sustaining something that is gonna reap the success because you were so excited that you did really well on that quiz. Right? Look at her face. It changed. It changed
Yeah.
already. It changed already as soon as we started talking about school in a way that didn't seem so.
I'm proud of you. And I also want to say success, I think, is from experience. I think it's like doing the hard things, doing the things that you may not want to do. That, you know, maybe it's that class that you don't love or that teacher who you don't have a connection with. Okay. How are you going to get through that? How are you going to fight through that and still make it a success? It's success when the going gets tough as well. It's working on not success. It is staying the course even when things get hard.
Yeah. Hey, Luna, what's your favorite class?
Cooking.
I was going to say last period.
Yeah. I think it's like a cooking, it's a class, but it's also like a good distraction for me because you're not actually doing like paper and pen work and like you don't have to think that much, I guess.
Yeah, you do have to think.
And then you oh, and then like,
No, but for you, you don't think you're thinking. For me, I would have to think through that class. You know what I mean? But not because you love that. What I'm
But
trying to
that's a natural gift. Can I just share because it's the audience who's new to us, or just anybody who's new to us, they don't know you guys. So Christiana and their family, they own a restaurant. They've owned restaurants. So Christiana and her husband Javier have a very successful restaurant here in Arlington. And I say that it's successful because my husband was just talking about, I mean, like, look at how long you guys have been open. And for so long, I mean, it has sustained I mean, it's increased in its momentum and its loyalty and the food and the way you entertain. And so it's so much a part of your life. And you came to life again. See, this is like I like to see it when you said cooking. And to some people, it's not like she's saying lunch, is her favorite
Right.
thing. Like you're saying cooking because it's like you don't just have to like write. And it's a different kind of
Learning. Yeah.
yeah, it's a different type of skill that you're learning, and it is a skill, and I love that. I love that.
Yeah, I love that. Imagine me as a 15-year-old in that class. I would probably be like so freaking stressed out because
I also like it because it's like it's a distraction, but it's not just like I'm going to lunch or something. It's actually like a class. It's an elective, so I have to take an elective. But it's like a distraction, but it also counts for school. Like I'm not worried about it.
when you need to find some, that's what I was telling her. Like, that's when you have to find a career that satisfies your passion, that doesn't feel like work. So
Mhm.
cooking to her, cooking class doesn't feel like work to her. That's what I want to communicate. That's what Javier and I want to communicate to her. Not that we want her to be in, like, she can choose whatever. I'm not saying go into the cooking, go into culinary, Luna. I'm not saying that, but it's like, what we're trying to tell her is like when something feels so natural, like that's what you want to do because you're at your job most more than you are with your family when you grow up.
It really is. It's true. When you think about it, here in the US, I mean, 40 plus hours is natural, right? And that's like waking hours, 40 plus hours. And that is something that I've had to discover and really tried to work on along the way because that was so conditioned into me. You really just work, and not that, I mean, that the responsibility piece is a real thing, with being able to make money is a real thing. And how can we start to bring creativity to it? And I think it's really cool that I don't think that you two can really grasp the coolness factor of this because it's not like our parents weren't cool. I mean, Christiana's mom is absolutely amazing. My mom, is amazing. But those kind of talks, maybe your mom is different. I mean, I'll speak, it was very practical in a
Oh
sense.
yeah.
And they certainly weren't asking me like, what do you love to do?
Oh,
And how can you start to bring it in to that? So I think that we're just planting the seed for one, how you can continue to really make school not feel so there's the rigor in it, but how can you still somehow this is a both and find some joy in it too? Awesome. Oh, thank you. Wait, so I'll just do a quick just because I want to share. I think most people just know. So I'm a nurse anesthetist and I've been building a holistic wellness business. And I've also been this year, or this past 2 years, I don't think Christiana, you even know this. I've been working on day trading, and it's something that and he's what I've been I've been cultivating this year. So that has
these people I
been
know do Robin Hood
Um,
and all that.
but it's not through it's not through that. It's through any kind of brokerage, but through Charles Schwab is what I use, and it's a skill.
Oh,
I get to learn the market, so that's been a lot of fun for me. So that's something that is on my vision board this year. But we'll get to that later
so
when
cool.
it's up. So yeah, and I'll share this because I think it's just we have the structure, but it's something that it's helped me in really understanding my passions and how it supports me in our career and being able to speak to really hold that as a core value and believe in that and then have that and use that in my relationship with dad. I've kind of just played a little bit with it and I've done a couple courses, but I really wanted to take a pretty serious course. And I said to Ken, which is my husband, last week, I said, I think I want to take this immersion course and it's a nice investment. And I go, thoughts? It's kind of like when I did the breath work thing. And he said, sure. And I said, that's it. And this has been years, okay, of us like, as a nurse anesthetist, I have a good career. I have a profession and it's something that you should just think, okay, complete, I'm done, which is why, again, when we started the dream board back in 2018, it's like, how do we keep going, right? How do we keep evolving? And what's cool when you keep following it and you keep verbalizing it like we're doing it now, other people get to hear what you're passionate about. Other people get to see what gives you life, right?
Mhm.
And so his response was like, babe, I want you to explore your passions.
I love that.
That's all he said. You know? And so does it mean it's going to be like a career takeover? We
Sure.
we get to this is the idea of with breathwork and meditation and getting out of autopilot and what Dr. Joe Dispenza calls the generous present moment. And in that present moment of sitting in the unknown when it's uncomfortable, that's where you start to create changes. That's where you start to create the possibilities. So when you guys are exposed to an opportunity to do public speaking or to do something like that, if it feels super sticky, maybe or maybe not, it might be for you, but it could also be like something to explore because it's just going to support you in learning more about yourself, right?
Oh, I 100% agree. I was just murmuring to Luna. She had I don't know what it was, but like she did
Right.
it's called Socratic seminar, and it involves speaking and presenting your ideas when the teacher asks you a series of questions. It sort of dissects the book, is my understanding, but I'm sorry if I'm not capturing it correctly. But she took the lead and she spoke, and I feel like you came home from school that day. She was very happy. It felt good and all that. And so it's just that feeling feels very, very good. And I want to say one thing, you were talking about vision boards. Luna has been doing visions boards for quite a long time, not by choice, but she was, yes. My family also does vision boards. I do force the kids. Yes, I do. Not going to lie. But it's so interesting, Sabrina and Tanya, because we went back on these vision boards. It's really amazing. It's really, really amazing because I said, "Do you remember that?" Like, she put travel soccer, like, way back when it came to life. A lot of the things she has put on that vision board has come to life, and I had to remind her of that. And she didn't say, "Yeah, you're right, mom," but, like, it's just I think it's so powerful,
It's
and
so powerful.
and I listened to the podcast from last week, and it's not like you said, Sabrina and Tiny, it's not woo. It's for real, and it's just something that you have to do it to experience it.
And it's so empowering. I mean, it really is when you lens it in that sense. You know what I mean? Like it's not woo because again, like why I think it's woo because it's not real in the physical world now. That's why people might think it's woo, but it's
Mhm.
not woo when you're learning just to work with just our own natural chemistry of really learning to focus. You know?
Yes, and it's also not woo because she didn't just put travel soccer and sit in her bed
Yeah.
watching it all day. She
Yeah.
worked for that.
Yes.
A lot of the things she worked on and a lot of things on my vision board, I worked for. So for those of your listeners who are not familiar with that vision board, it's not like you put your dream on a poster and say, okay, it's going to come. You have to do the work.
Absolutely. Which brings us to the next segment. So how do we do it? How do you do yours? That would be awesome. And Luna, do you want to get yours? Well, Mom, Luna's back. And we weren't able to find or locate your vision board, your dream board. But what was on there that you want to share? How do you girls do it?
So basically, we have like a bunch of magazines that like you've already read and stuff like that, and then we cut out like things that we think are inspirational or like we want to bring into the new year. Because that's why we do it every like normally do it end of December after we get back from Spain.
Yeah.
Last year I did mine the beginning of I think the beginning of February.
So I put like
Right. You always have a dog.
I was
Last week, a lot about relationships.
Did you put anything on school? Well, soccer.
I don't think I put anything about. Actually, I probably didn't really remember.
A lot about social activity.
Yes, I watched about social, and I think that really like
I don't think you were thinking about high school back a year ago. It was more like lifestyle. Oh, it was definitely about exercise.
yeah.
I think it, yeah.
Did you put any quotes or any?
Yeah, I definitely did.
So I make the kids write it out. Kind of so
Oh, I like that. Writing it out. Okay.
Christiana, just to jog your memory, do you remember we had the 100?
Yes,
Or 100?
I still rock that word.
And we did that podcast with Heather Quizzle. I'll never forget that. And she said you start over every year, and it's something that I keep doing. And so I'll actually put that in the show notes for anybody who wants that. So and it's amazing what happens. Like you think that you have all these dreams, and you write down. See, because you're saying you just cross it out, and you write down as many as you can. You see 100 lines, and then you forget. But then you literally go down stuff like, oh, I want to organize my closet, or I want to patch up this wall, and stuff like
You guys still do 100 things?
I do as many as I want, but you have Sabrina. I didn't see yours. She just writes it down, whatever stream of consciousness kind of thing. And I mean, I try to give them a minimum to do. I mean, Caleb, he's 11, so
Grade 7.
around 7.
I think that's really doable.
Yeah.
Really good. I'm like writing things down and maybe we can try that. And maybe, you gave me an idea. Maybe we can do that like every month. Do your top 5 things you want to accomplish this month. Yeah.
This is just kind of, I mean, it primes your brain to start looking for those. So Sabrina from last week, I mean, she said she wants to do a special breakfast for us every month. So that was last week's episode. And why I think that's really important is we were saying it's just the same thing about how to keep things motivated. You guys are good like this. You guys continue to do these. Like you're doing that tonight. You guys having dinner together. I just feel like within our own family, I don't like we
We don't really get that, Tom. I
what?
feel it. Because we're always out doing something.
Right.
If I have a free night, I go out with my friend.
Yeah, and so just to add in that spontaneity, that creates that level of newness in relationships and keeps things going. So I think that's super important. That's the same thing with our career and with school, right? Did I miss anything with you, Jen? Okay, so then I'd love to talk about this since we're with Gen Z and we are, what are we? We're not,
Baby boomer.
we are Xers, right? We're Gen X.
Yeah, we're super cool moms.
We're Gen X. We're Gen X cool. This segment, second to last, I really wanted to talk about the AI dilemma
Okay.
in school and how you use AI and your thoughts on it for supporting you in school. What's a pro and what's a con? Let's just do it that way.
I don't really mind AI unless it's like a copy and paste, but like when I have a brain fart or I don't know like what to say, I like use that as like a little like starter. But then like I go off with my own stuff. I think for me, I use AI like a lot. Just like not I don't do like copy and paste though. I just like as you said, I use that as like a starter and it's like I'll read it and then not really rephrase because I feel like that's still copying. But like when it gives me an idea, I'm just like not based anything off of that, but I don't know. It helps me like get ideas started. Mm-hmm.
I was talking to Luna. Okay, it's going to be at your fingertips. So what you do with it is what you do with it. But okay, you want to generate an idea. Okay. But I am super vehemently opposed to like Googling up answers. Okay, because you're not using your brain. And I know that's an easy thing to do. I know that individuals want to, teens may want, and I'm not judging it. I'm thinking if I were a teen, like this podcast, I'm thinking like if I were 15, I'm sure I'd want okay, it's right there. It's going to help me. It's going to be quick. But I'm not using your brain. And so, like, we have these conversations with Luna. My husband and I have these conversations with Luna where we are not accusing her of anything, but we are telling her that it's important to use your brain. It's important to not rely on AI because you have your own brain.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So important. You don't want your brain as a muscle. And you're only 15.
I agree with that. So I use AI a lot for my
This podcast.
my holistic wellness business for this podcast. It gives me the structure, but I know what sounds like me and what's not. And I think that's one of the things too, especially when you're young, is really learning your voice, right? So that I think is a con for working with AI because I've learned my voice enough that I use it and I'll put it in there and then it'll just give me better languaging for that. But it's not going away. I know that. And I agree with you that I think just using your brain, it's a skill that you don't want to lose. And a lot of that is critical thinking that might be an easy out when you have this capacity of being able to plug something in there.
Yeah.
Although, but it was funny when I did use it, tell me what the pro and con was. He did say, yeah, losing those skills, but also it's like a calculator. You use it as an asset, but you're not losing the skills. So
Yeah, that's how you use it. So yes, it's tedious to read Shakespeare for certain people. Like I can't say, oh, it's so fun. Let me sit here and read Shakespeare. Let me sit here and read through some text. It's tedious, but you have to do the hard work. You can't just Google the answer because that's not going to get you anywhere. And I think what you said was so key, which is critical thinking. And as 15-year-olds, I don't think you guys understand. And I don't expect you all to understand what critical thinking is. I don't think you can apply it as a 15-year-old. And I say that with all my love. You guys are not 20. You guys are not 25. You guys are 15. You guys are right where you should be, in my opinion.
Well, and that's true, not to cut you off, because it's what brought us to the show, right? Because your frontal cortex is not quite developed yet.
Mhm.
And it's that executive thinking that you're still working on, right? And so, absolutely, that is 100%
I
correct.
don't expect
No,
women to have that, or I don't.
no,
If Sabrina had that, I'd be like, oh my gosh, you're like little
Weird.
Dewey Hauser, you're a genius, but like you will get there. You guys will get there. You are where you should be right now.
all right. Just because we're short on time, I wanted two more things to cover. And this second to last thing was to share. And because we're short on time, I thought what we could do was just add in, wouldn't it be great if? And I know that, so Christiane and I, we talk quite a bit. It's one of the activities that I had shared at a vision board last week. And you had asked, like, not so much what was the purpose of it, but there was just a little bit of like clarity around it, right? Like, so when I'm asking this, what was your question again?
Yeah. So the exercise is, wouldn't it be great if like da 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 happened? And so my question was, a lot of things are out of our control. So if I say, wouldn't it be great if Luna cleaned up, made her bed, let's put it, made her bed every day? That's great, but that's out of my control, really, truly. Like I can nag her every morning and all of that, but that's out of my control, and I'm trying really hard to focus on my reaction to things that I cannot control.
But you already did just by even
Saying that?
writing that down. So I guess the way that I think about with writing that down, because with a vision board and a dream board, like the end in mind is to write, like, it's 1 year now, it's 3 years from now, and this already happened, right? And sometimes for so many people, it's like such a stretch. That's something to start with to like prime the brain, to prime your thinking is to start with, wouldn't it be great if? Because like wishful thinking is easier than actually declaring 1 year from now, I'm already this. And I think what that does is just opens up a sense of curiosity as to what you really want. It opens up a sense of just a willingness. It opens up just an open mind. It opens, it just starts
Yeah.
to like, again, prime your thinking rather than like just almost like working by just the circumstances, which is why, again, most people stay habitual. Most people stay on autopilot because they base their thinking of what they can create in a year from now already by what's in their bank account, what their education is, what their current reality is. And so I think that just sort of supports like, what is it again? Back to the same question of where we started of what is it that you would love? And so it's just to prime it. And again, you're at like what Miss Christiane is saying is you absolutely I can't control you from taking my hairbrush or my shampoo and all that stuff, but I can articulate it just like I've always articulated my passions to my husband. And one day when your frontal cortex is online and integrated, it will hit, it's like kind of planting the seeds.
Very.
And also, I know what we were talking about is like when we think about things about like health for our family and we can't make choices. Like I did say it, wouldn't it be great if Sabrina would eat more fruit or more vegetables, but I can't ultimately spoon feed you anymore. And it is an articulation. And what can I do at the grocery store? And what can I do about dinners and stuff? So I don't know. I mean, I don't have the answers. And as I like to say, take what's useful, leave what's not.
Oh,
We're just here to encourage us to like what has worked in the past for us and to have like, these conversations. Cause I'll tell you what, I mean, like 5 years ago, if I would have asked my husband about this course, I mean, I don't know, I either would have had to sneak it, and what kind of behavior is that? Or I just wouldn't have done it. And where would that have gotten me? Probably resentment. So anyways,
makes
just
me happy. I love it.
so Sabrina, go ahead and share yours.
I only have two.
Well, whatever. Okay, go ahead.
Well, wouldn't it be great if phones were allowed in school again? I don't mind not having it in class, but like we're not even allowed to have it like in the hallways or during my free block.
Mhm.
So that's just kind of annoying.
Does that also make you more productive?
Well, in my free block, I hang out with my friends.
Does it make you talk to them more?
No.
No. So what do you guys do?
Well, like we're not on our phones during our free block, but it's just
They're learning.
like because like so my classes, some of them I don't have like with my friends I eat lunch with. So then it's just like I can't text them and be like, where do I meet you? Because we eat replaced.
You're talking to Gen Xers over here, okay? So, you read the dial-up phone. What's your second one?
Wouldn't it be great if I had straight A's?
Okay, awesome. Luna, would you love to share yours?
I'm thinking about this right now. Definitely wouldn't it be great if I had good grades?
But you too. You get better grades.
Better. What else? Oh, wouldn't it be great if I don't get injured again?
Oh, yeah.
Would be if the world record.
Luna's broken her clavicle 3 times, right? In soccer. Yes. Miss Christiana?
Wouldn't it be great if we could all go to Europe together?
Oh yeah.
Or wouldn't it be great if we could have a girls' trip together, the 4 of us?
Didn't I say that last week?
Wouldn't it be great if I were in the best shape of my life?
What about with your career? Or your
No, I'm really good in my career right now. Wouldn't it be great if I could continue to use my creativity at work to change public education, even if it were in a very, very, very small amount, whichever if it impacts a teacher or one student or whatever. Doesn't matter. Like not nationally, but very, very small.
What about working from home?
What do you mean?
Wouldn't it be great if
Like working from home?
you already do, right? Yeah.
Like I have pretty.
NEA won't have to go back?
No.
Okay. So I'm actually just going to share what I projected into next year. It's January 18th, 2025. I'm so happy and grateful that our garage is almost complete in its renovation. It's a gorgeous 2.0 version of our house that highlights the treehouse feeling, and it's my studio. I'm so happy and grateful now that I reduced my call to twice a month, allowing me more sleep and energy for my Saturday breathwork classes. I'm so happy and grateful now that my offerings online and at a warehouse are booked, and we are in the first stages of our group coaching and teacher training classes. I am so happy that I took the trader's course and I'm learning so much about the market, making profits, and feel empowered with time and more financial freedom.
I have the chills. Guys, I love that. I have the chills, and it's all going to materialize, Tanya. Wouldn't it be great if you can celebrate your success at our future steakhouse?
Ooh,
It's for luck cart, honey. It's all going to happen. Your favorite champagne.
Oh. Okay, the last thing that I wanted to do was bring on Rachel's question. She is a listener that has been emailing me, and she's just been so wonderful. And she had a few questions that she's wanted to ask and get support with. And I brought this one because I thought it was aligned with the part 2 series. So her question is, how can parents support a kid that's struggling at school but doesn't want to talk about it? Christiana?
Well, does the child not want to talk about it with the parent or the parent?
I mean, I guess, Rachel, we need some clarification, but let's just say she doesn't want to talk with the parents.
Oh shoot, that's hard.
What do you think? I'll ask this. Let's put it on you girls. You guys have a bad grade and you don't want to talk about it, but you know you need to because you need a signature.
I
Right.
think part of that is also because like you don't want to feel ashamed, especially in front of your parents, because like not particularly me, but like you don't want to like disappoint your parents or something like that. Like I don't feel that,
Yeah, that is fair.
but I think that can also be like really common.
Yeah.
So
I think you just have to do it though.
like at one point you just have to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on the parent. To piggyback on what you said, it depends on the parent because if that parent is like going to freak out on a whole different level, like yes, I'd be upset. Yes, I'm gonna be upset at Luna, but we could talk it out and ask questions. So I think it's more about like it's hard for me to talk about what Rachel can do, but I'd love to talk to her parents and just walk away because it depends on the relationship you have. I'm sure her parents are probably going to be mortified. I'm sure her parents are like, oh, honey, you know, maybe this is the wrong thing, but like, I'm sure her parents want to know. And I'm sure her parents are like, because I've spoken to a handful of students in my work that have sort of the same question. And then, you know, you talk to the parent and the parents are like, oh, honey, it's okay. Like, we work on this together.
Serena?
Personally, I don't really know because I feel like really pressured to get good grades, especially from dad. Why from dad?
You wouldn't think that, right?
Because no, when I come home with a B, he'll be like, "You can do so much better. You have the potential to get A's, or like you should be getting A's." I know that like I can get A's, but like if I try my hardest, it doesn't feel amazing. Like I did try, and he's putting me down a little bit, and so it's like when I get like a C on a test or something, or like maybe even worse, it's just like it's hard to talk about it. I I think like if I come back with like a C, my mom like gets mad, but at the same time, like I can talk it through with her. And like if I tell you that I actually did try my best, like I studied,
Yeah.
I tried my best, like you're not gonna get super mad. I feel like
No, I'm
the
upset and I'm frustrated with you because
and
I say
like
the same thing as Mr. Ken says, which is you're so much more capable of that.
I think like the important part is that you like try. And like there's nothing else that you can do if it just doesn't work out. And like for example, my project that I did and like you helped me edit it
Yeah.
and stuff. Like I ended up getting a B on it, back
It's high, very high B.
a high B, but whatever. And like like I tried hard on it.
Yeah.
Like, you edited it and everything, and I got an 88. So like there's nothing I can do.
Yeah, there is. You can still go talk to your teacher and say, what could earn me a 90 or what could earn me an A? Because she did work really hard on that. And Sabrina, like the thing about like, I promise you, and I'm sure your mom has told you this, your dad is not trying to put you down. He's trying to raise you up because he knows your infinite potential. He knows you inside and out. And so does your mom. He knows, and I know what your parents are doing because I did the same. Javier and I, Mr. Javier and I, do the same thing with Luna. And if we know what we are capable of, so if you got a C on something, then we want to know why. Oh, I studied. Well, then I tell Luna, and we are tough on Luna. And it's like, well, then something's not working. If you got a C, 'cause, like, I know Luna's intelligence level, and so I know what she's capable of. So if she's getting a C on a particular subject, then it's like, why? And then it's like, well, then we got to make changes. You have to make changes to come up to that level. And that's also life. It's preparing you for life.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I agree about dad because I mean, we know dad's very reasonable and he wants the best. And I don't think he's unreasonable in that element of pushing you too hard, not to making you feel bad. So, and
I
not,
don't really mind it. It's
yeah. And I'm
scary
making,
when I don't get a big grade.
yeah. But then also, I mean, specifically for Rachel, so what I would say is like what you were saying, Christiana, we don't know your mom or your parents, so there's that element. We don't know what the family situation, the home situation is like. And I would say, how hard you tried, right? And so if there's that level of I didn't try, then I would say own up to that, right? Did you try? Did you try your best? And that's one of the things that I would say, not to bring it back to you, Sabrina, but it just parallels these common themes here is that this is why the phone is gone from school. This is why certain things, just study habits in general, like with having AirPods in one. I mean, unless it's like really inducing alpha waves here or something, is it really supporting you studying? So as you were saying, the different distractions that you were doing, your sleep patterns like that, your eating patterns of how that supports everything in general, that all, I mean, it's not siloed. Everything is all a piece of how you successfully, with the endurance and the motivation and really just your mindset around it. So I would just ask that, Rachel, is one, did you do your best? Two, do you feel comfortable asking for help? Can you get help? And maybe it's something that I would say that because of your parent, there is I hate to say you have to, but there is a level of responsibility that your parents they have to know this for, how do I want to say that, Christiana? Like,
They you can't resist that, right? You have to tell them because they're going to find out sooner or later. But I do want to put a little pin in that because I was just thinking, depending on the relationship that she has with her parents, maybe there is a trusted adult in the school that she can use as a bridge. It doesn't have to be the counselor. It could be, there's somebody in the school that you can be, hey, I don't know how to bring this up. I'm feeling a trusted adult in your school that you can talk. It can be like, can bridge the gap and see how that is. Like, I think that and seek one out maybe or talk to a friend. I think that's all helpful.
Yeah, I love that because, like, I think we had talked about that in other podcast. By the nature of just being in this community that we are, we have what's called allo parenting, right? So we do have other people because again, we don't know your situation at home. But I would just invite you either just to write us back of how we can support you even more, but just to know that you are writing us because you believe in yourself, that there is a yearning to want to grow and to grow again holistically, like we said. So not just in your grades and at school, but also within your relationship with your parents. If there's anything else that we can do to support you with that, we'd be happy to. So if anybody else has anything to add, I think we can close the show.
I think this is wonderful. It's always a pleasure to be here. I just love speaking to you girls, and you're doing such great things for our community, Tanya and Sabrina. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Christia. Thank you, Luna. And thank you for sharing. I love it that you lit up when we talked about cooking. So I learned, more about you. And I'm just really excited and just grateful to have you guys as friends, as family, and to be on the show and to share this space with you. And it is our mission to be able to bring more of this to the community, just to support this kind of level of communication. So thank you so much. Please rate, review, subscribe to the show. We are on YouTube, we are on podcasts. Please email us or comment with any questions, and we would love to support you further. So, bye for now.
Bye. Thank you.